Well. If it isn't the psycho herself, Diana, nurse gone rogue, Nicorici, survivor numero uno of the Change Your Motherfucking Life program.
I like how you added the motherfucking.
How we doing, D?
We're doing phenomenal.
Cheers to that. Cheers
Yeah.
to that. Big time. Most
Yeah,
definitely.
for sure.
Love the mushroom cup, by the way. Where'd you get that?
I mean, this mushroom guy gave me a coffee this morning. I love it.
All right. So, Diana, we are officially 2 full weeks removed from the Change Your Fucking Life program, which is kind of crazy because, like that month, it's a trudge, right? It's a endurance challenge. You go through one day and you say, okay, well that was kind of tough. I pushed myself, and I don't want to speak for you, but I'm assuming that there weren't too many days within the program where you really felt like you were dying, but just like the cumulative effect of like, okay, this is what it's going to be like. This is a lot on a daily basis. And so for it to be a full month of that, and then for us to be 2 weeks plus removed from it now, it kind of feels like that time has flown, for me at least.
It has. I think we got into a rhythm and a routine. And yes, the first few days were like big shocks, lots of like muscular fatigue and, what is it called? In Romanian, we call it febra musculară. So like muscle fever,
Okay.
super, super sore.
Okay.
Feel like you're breaking apart. But I think the biggest challenge the first week and the first few days was, holy shit, I got to make it through the entire month. And it just feels like, how, and now looking back, I'm like, it became routine. Like, yes, I made some changes in my schedule and I prioritized, but I'm really, really happy that I prioritized like myself, and you were there for it, and you really did also listen to my body. And I'm a very expressive person, so I told you from the jump, what did I say? I'm going to be cursing like a sailor. I'll bitch and moan all the time,
But that's exactly what makes it work, right? Because whether it's over the top, screaming and crying or whatever, I'd much rather have that than somebody that's not telling me how they feel. Because if you're communicating with me, that's the biggest thing, right? As long as you have an understanding of where each other stands as far as, the effort that you're giving, the exhaustion that you're feeling, so on and so forth, there's a lot that I can do with that. It's if you're not telling me how you feel that stuff starts to break down, and it becomes a question of like, okay, why aren't we feeling right? Why aren't we producing the right type of responses through this program? And so having that communication, even if you are feeling like you're bitching and crying and moaning and whatever it is, it provides a lot of positive because it means that we have information to go on. And so, I do want to thank you for being who you are through this program. First and foremost, that your communication is on point, right? So there was never a question of how's Diana feeling, because you'd either tell me or I'd look at your whoop and be able to say.
That was like epic. I feel like epic, like, was it a mistake? Was it not? Because you knew like my effort level, you knew what I was doing, you knew how to, it was a very transparent thing. And I think between the two of us, because we are two very conscious individuals, that's what made it so magical. And so I would say, the ideal next psycho in training would be someone that is ready to really meet themselves and also be seen, because it's scary to be seen. And I think that was the biggest thing. I unraveled quite a few things in my mind and psyche about just like life in general, relationships, relationship with myself, romantic relationships, relationships with my inner child, with my family of origin. And I think that's like a really big secret that people are not really going to think about. They think it's just like this body transformation, but really it is just one big mind fuck. Like, if I'm being honest, it really is, because you don't have the capacity to hide anywhere. You're in this really, really vulnerable state. You're scared shitless that you're not going to sleep enough. You're not going to hit your macros. Is my body going to recover enough? What's tomorrow going to look like? And I remember a couple of different times Thansha coming out from the house and being like, yo, I'm hearing you die. Like literally die out here. Are you okay? And I'm like, no, bitch, you should have saved me earlier. You came at the end of it. But that to say, like, I did really, it's that whole like leave it all out on the field, give all of your effort, and you really extrapolated all of it, even when I was saying I can't do this, or what do you mean we have 3 rounds of this? Like, I'll never forget that bike day. Like, that was just so much. And you were like, yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. It's just like one bite at a time. The elephant, one bite at I still wear that, I had my Be Brave necklace and then I changed it to my elephant
Love it.
one. And I think I'm going to get a tattoo with an elephant holding your logo
Okay. I
in the
love that.
trunk.
I love that. There might need to be matching ones. Anybody who goes through the Change Your Fucking Life program, certified psycho,
Yeah.
get that elephant on there.
Because it was a big deal to me. It made such a huge impact, not only on my life, but on my kids' lives,
Mm,
them watching me do that. And, every morning, and you remember the morning you had me do like 200 squats, 100 burpees, and
mhm.
Hannah was just sitting on her seat, literally drinking her tea or something and eating her breakfast, watching me through the French doors,
Mhm.
dying out there on the grass,
For
week
those of you
one.
that don't know Diana, that is her 9-year-old daughter?
My 10-year-old.
10-year-old daughter,
Yeah.
sorry. I didn't mean it, Hannah.
Yeah.
You're a big girl.
No, but like all of my kids, it impacted all of them. And I have quite the spectrum. I have
Mhm.
5. I have 8, 10, 13, 15, 17-year-old.
Mhm.
My 13, 15, 17-year-old are now going to the gym together 2 to 3 times a week.
Hell yeah.
Like, because it was like I stripped them of any
Mhm.
excuses.
Yeah. And was that something that you'd ever seen them do before?
Like I had we were always an active family. We
Mhm.
were in the Northwest while they were small, so we did a lot of hikes, things like that. But more recently, they have their own thing, their own routines, their own stuff they want to do. So they weren't really like, especially my eldest, she
Mhm.
wasn't really like, she's a bookworm. She loves this and that. And she's just like, no, I just feel weird going to the gym. So I haven't seen them be this committed. They all
Mm.
have my Fitness Pal app on their phones now. They're all counting macros. They're all hitting protein goals.
Love it.
Like they're very much accountable of each other. They're feeling the burn. They're feeling great. Like it's just a different ambiance altogether in the house since I
Mhm.
finished the program and since they saw me run that half marathon and finish it, and like how emotional it was and how hard it was because they saw me. Like it
Mhm.
was hard for me to juggle not only like mom life in the car, around 4 hours a day between pickups, drop offs, coordinating schedules, meal prepping for myself, making food for them. So it was a whole life change. It wasn't just me. And I just want people to understand the difference that it makes, because it's not just like you integrated in my Sunday night meal preps and you came and you cooked with me
Mhm.
and you saw my kids just kind of chilling on a Sunday,
Mhm.
and they saw you there counting protein, and like who knew banana donuts with protein frosting could taste so good. Ezra ate like 7 of them one night.
Oh yeah. House those. Absolutely. They're so good.
Yeah.
But that's like the fun thing, right? Is like we go through so much of life thinking that like being in, the type of shape that I'm in, let's just say, right, requires an extreme, extreme, extreme lifestyle. And it does to an extent versus what the versus the way that a majority of Americans live their life, right? But there's so many things that you can do that are not, just eating plain grilled chicken and rice every day, that make a huge impact to just being a little bit healthier, a little bit healthier, and a little bit healthier. And eventually those wins stack and compound over time to create incredible change. And so your kids are seeing that, right? They're seeing mommy go from, you know, doing your damn thing, right? Being a working mother of 5 with multiple companies and, wearing all these hats and doing incredible things, to now throwing health and fitness as a major aspect of that on top of it and seeing you excel. It's removing, like you said, all of the excuses that they had of why they couldn't do something, and it's asking them to dream how great they can be with a little bit of effort. And so you're starting to see those breadcrumbs being left for them, and they're picking them up and running with it.
Right.
What was your favorite reaction to the half marathon?
Favorite reaction,
Yeah.
as in like from my kids?
Yeah. Yeah. Was there anything that stands out?
I mean, they were all just in shock
Mm-hmm.
that I did it when they found out. Like, I didn't even know how long a half marathon is technically because I never dreamt I'd run one. I just kind of threw that out there because you put me on the spot with a question. So
It sounds intimidating. Fuck it, we'll say that.
yeah, that sounds like a big enough goal to like
Mm-hmm.
push out for 12 months. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine I was gonna actually do it.
Mm-hmm. And for those listening, on day one, I asked Diana if she dreamt really big, what's something that she could see herself achieving in a year? And the answer was a half marathon.
My question is, well, first of all, your I don't know why your image looks blurry on my phone, but does it look good on?
It looks blurry on both sides. It's just how it's going to show up. The quality's going to be better when we actually get it.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure of
Yeah.
that. But my question to you is, because you asked me that question,
Mm-hmm.
you had thought about what you were going to do. At some point, I know you told me to have a camelback, and that was
Mm-hmm.
like maybe a week out. At which point did you come to the conclusion that I'm going to push her for the half marathon and I know she can do it?
Yeah.
When did you come to that realization and like decide that was going to be the graduation thing?
You know, when I asked the question, I wanted to see where your mind was and what might be achievable. And I had an inkling at that point that that's what I would make your graduation to put at the end. But I also I didn't want to tell you first and foremost because I didn't want it to intimidate you. I didn't want it to be something
Yeah, I would have said fuck no.
Exactly, right? And I also wanted to make sure that we got to there healthy and in a way where I felt really encouraged by the progress you were making. And so I saw enough in all those instances to give me the confidence that you could do this without much issue. And
What did you see in particular? Like, what are some of the things that you saw that you were like, she could do this? We'll do it in this way, but her body can handle it and her mind can handle
Yeah.
it.
Well, so it was the progress in the running, right? Going from not being able to run 2 miles without walking to completing a 5K within like 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks. It was from
Yeah.
to until you were able to run 3 miles straight. So that was awesome, and also just the attitude that you have, right? Like there's a mental strength that you have that a lot of people haven't found how to bring out of themselves yet, and it's really incredible as a trainer to see that in someone because there's so much that I can do with someone who believes in themselves and who believes in me and the confidence that I'm giving back to you, right? So it's a symbiotic relationship where like I knew that you trusted my judgment in those type of things and I knew that it was something that you could do. And so yeah, it just a feeling and a belief, there's a lot of people that I work with that haven't been able to bring that out of them, and I wouldn't challenge them in that way yet because I need them to do 3 rounds of bikes and burpees and devil's press or whatever without giving up before I can put them through something like that. And because you rose to every single test that I gave you along the way, there wasn't a doubt in my mind.
Okay. So that's what I was going to ask as a follow-up question is like, what did you see out of because you know how it is when it's us and we're in the situation, we don't see it. So what parts of the mental resilience did you see in me that you were like, yes?
Yeah. The willingness to push yourself. Yeah. The willingness to push yourself, the getting your heart rate up to 185 and not fucking bitching, right? I mean, you might think that you do, but you have it together, right? You are a very strong-willed person. You're somebody who believes in themselves, and it shines through in what you do athletically. Like, are you going to run an hour and a half marathon? No, but we can bite that elephant one bite at a time, and we can get there, and we can achieve something that's far beyond what you might have believed was capable for yourself.
Yeah. That was 100%. I mean, that last mile and some change that we
Yeah.
ran, I remember
Badass shit.
I was staring brick by brick around St. Pete High. I was like, I know this street. We're close, but I feel like my legs will fall off, you know? But, and I want to talk about some of those moments in the half marathon because it really did take me back to, I think, all of the failures that I had as a kid. As a high performance athlete, I tell people about my life. Like, I was a cross country athlete for like 4 years, 4 or 5 years, track, tennis, soccer. So lots of running, lots of competition, some teamwork elements to it. And I never really was taught like how much protein to eat. Like, I learned these things in my 30s. In my 30s, after having children, I can't imagine what my life would have been if I would have known these things like my kids will know
Yeah.
them, before they get into adulthood, young
Most
adulthood,
definitely.
and sports, performance sports. But I think like some of the biggest discoveries that I made with you as a trainer, which it didn't come to me until we were at our celebratory breakfast, but you really did heal my like runner's block wound. It was a father wound for me. My mom was never really around for the runs. My dad was, because my brother was also in cross country. My brother was exceptionally better than me. I mean, he got a lot of training just from mowing lawns in the hot
Oh yeah,
summers in Arkansas.
the same thing for Andrew, right?
Right.
One of our friends, Andrew, has done 46-mile ultra marathon with me. It's on the hottest day in August, and he credits him being out mowing lawns to his heat training for
Right.
it. And yeah, you can't argue with it because
Right.
it's brutal out
Everyone else has to just be like super intentional and be running outside, and it's really hard when you don't have something like money motivating you, right? So he was out there, and I remember, and it didn't come from, I know it sounds terrible when I tell the story, but it didn't come from a place of hate or anything like that. It didn't come from a bad place that he was running beside me. He was just
He
like,
wanted to
my
keep
poor
you
baby's
protected.
suffering.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he was
and
like, my baby's suffering, but it did come from like an immigrant, like scarcity, limitation mindset of like, girls aren't made to do this because they already suffer so much. So why would you endure this kind of suffering? What the mindset that needed to change internally and needs to continue to change for women is that if you don't put your stress out somewhere, it's going to live inside of you. And that's why I broke down when we finally got to the end of the pier and we took a little bit of a pause. And I was telling you, like, this could have been such an incredible coping mechanism for me because I'm running and my body's like, you were made for this kind of shit. Like, you were literally made to be a performance athlete. It's in your DNA. You have the endurance. Your mind is strong. Like, you were made for it. And then it made me so deeply, like, not only sad, but angry that there were so many adults surrounding me and so many other kids in our childhood that did not teach us how to run or how to incrementally increase our running capacity, like you did with the elephant, bite by bite. Because you were like, yeah, we're going to run an ultra half marathon. And I'm like, well, shit, how? I'm going to have to, like, what was the first thing I said? We're going to have to walk some of this.
Yeah.
And you were like, of course.
Yeah.
You already had it in the plan, right? And that took away a lot of the fear element because I was like, okay, John knows my body. He knows how I perform. He knows I push myself too much sometimes. So I think he understands how we're going to need to pace ourselves, like for me. And at one point, even the people pleaser, the good girl in me came out, and I was like, I know this must be so boring for you. Like, this is such a slow pace for you.
Not one bit. Right?
And you were so reassuring, though.
That's my mission. I'm there to, my mission in life is to help other people discover their greatness, right? And I do incredible things myself, but that is just a way to show people what's possible for themselves. By doing what I do, I can make you say, well, fuck, if John can run 100, I can do 13, right? And
I never said that.
Yeah.
I never thought that. But
Maybe you did. Maybe you did. I'm giving it to you. But that's exactly it, right? Is like, I want to see that belief change in you, right? Because you went from the longest you'd ever run before that was, I mean, so long ago that it's irrelevant, right?
Right.
But really
Absolutely.
3 miles, right? So we more than quadrupled that.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you made it through like a fucking champion because you ran that last mile and a quarter. And, you know, if I had said to you, yeah, we're gonna run a half mile, walk a quarter mile for the first 12 miles, and you're gonna run the last mile and a quarter, be like, you're fucking crazy. After 12 miles, you think I'm gonna run that? Like, get the fuck out of here. But getting to that point and then knowing that you have that mission before you, just one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the
You
other.
really did challenge me to get into that. I can't remember the phrase that you used where I told you there's a zone I go to when my body is in so much pain and I'm trying to get to a goal that you've put in front of
Mm-hmm.
me and my mind goes to somewhere like I think I connected it with my last two babies. I had them with zero medication
Mm-hmm.
and like endured all the labor and birthing pains.
Mm-hmm.
And I equated it to that. And my mind took my body to the place where you've done hard shit before, like super hard shit.
Mm-hmm.
This 15 more seconds of this or whatever, 15 more minutes or whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is, like this is nothing. You have
Mm-hmm.
conquered death pretty much because, childbearing can be a fatal thing for a moral thing for women, but
Mm-hmm.
what did you call that term? Like that I forget what that term was. You said it was like it was like the marathoners typically go there. It's like a zone
Oh,
that
the
you go
pain
in.
cave.
The pain
Yeah.
cave.
Yeah. You gotta love it.
The pain
Yeah.
cave.
Feel it.
That's
Know what it's telling you, but tell that motherfucker to shut up.
and that's where like my mind took me,
Mm-hmm.
is every time that you were putting a challenge in front of me and my body was just like protesting left and right was like no, and my mind too, don't get me wrong, like my mind was like yeah, let's do this, my mind was like fuck, I'm tired, you're like, oh, your heart rate's only 150, you're good.
And you're like, fuck you.
Right. I'm like, stop. But when both my mind and my body, at some point I got into this, like it is like a cave, it's like a tunnel you get into
Mm-hmm.
and you've got like a one tunnel vision of I need to finish this. And my mind took me back to a place where my body was in so much physical pain, but I survived. So
Mm-hmm.
if I survive, it's the law of causation. If I survive this, then surely I can survive that,
Yeah.
this current moment.
Yeah. Well, what you're referring to is something that, I think is so important, because, there our body responds to the things that we ask it to do regularly, right? And so if you're out there and you're listening and you've got a few extra pounds on you, it's likely because you've given your body the inputs that say that you're going to be sedentary and you could potentially want to have excess resources for your body to use in the future, right? If you are running regularly and your body knows that it's going to have to move itself in an athletic way, then your body's going to drop weight because it knows that the most efficient way to move itself athletically is by dropping that extra weight, right?
100%.
And so what you're doing is you're overriding the inputs that you've given your body over that long period of time where you haven't been training like an elite athlete. And so through this process, your mind has said, hey, Diana, what the fuck? We haven't had to do this yet. Why are you putting us through this? And you're just saying, nobody, we are going to have to do this now. So you better listen and you better adapt.
Right.
And so every time that you've received those messages of like, stop, 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 you're telling yourself, no, this is the way we're living life now. And so the adaptation just gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And every time that we did that throughout that process, built so much more resilience towards your graduation day in that half marathon because through all of that you have repeatedly said to yourself, no, we're going to keep going, and you've kept going, and you've been safe and you've been healthy and you've been happy and those
Mm-hmm.
endorphins have been flowing and your body's been feeling good, right? And so you've trained your body to listen when you say, no, we're not done here, we're going to keep going.
Yeah, and I remember there was one point about halfway through that I had some personal things creeping up.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you've held me crying a few times throughout this program. Welcome to a female client, right? I think you, what did you expect when you
the
brought
male
that?
clients, don't worry. It is all inclusive. If you're out there and we've trained together,
Does
there's
that happen?
oh yeah. I'm personal trainer, mental health coach, therapist, shoulder to cry on. Yes, all everything in between.
So when I want to go back to the first night that you posed this, it must have been, I mean, was it early February when we were at ESC Entrepreneurial Social Club? We're going to clap for ESC for giving us all of these relationships. But we're all sitting there, you know, I'm definitely on my I need to get my body back scenario because I was not a sedentary person. I've always been like athletic. And I kind of like I was scared. So I want to talk a little bit about what my hesitance was, but what my impulsive reaction was that night. What did you expect when you said it? And what was going on through your mind when you saw me raise my hand?
Yeah, well,
Because I'll tell you what other people reacted like when they saw me raise my hand.
I love this. So just taking a step back and just talking about the inspiration for this program. So, I I got into personal training because I wanted to do something where I felt like I was making a major impact for people, right? And so my whole mission, my whole why is to help people be the most incredible version of themselves, right? To bring something out of them that they didn't know was there. And to have somebody, honestly, like, and this is a little bit selfish, right? But to have someone look at me and say, thank you, you made such a major impact for me. That's what matters to me, right? I want to see that look in your eyes when you finish a half marathon and you say, I couldn't have done this without you, right? Anyway, so there's this book that details an experience of David Goggins and Jesse Itzler, where Goggins, the baddest motherfucker in the world, according to himself, and a lot of people that you'd ask out there, goes and lives with Jesse for 30 days and basically puts him through hell in a training standpoint. And after reading that, I was like, I think that's exactly what I want to do for people, right? Because it's very hands-on, it's very high touch, it's imparting a piece of myself that I can't really do training with someone 3 times a week. I mean,
Correct.
we can kind of get there, but there's a very different level
No,
if
we
you
can't.
know I'm going to be knocking at your
Yeah.
door at 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Right?
It was super personal. Yeah. You were in my whoop, okay?
Yeah. Which, for anyone out there, like, a fitness tracker is the most valuable thing to understanding the way that your body is reacting to training, the effort that you're putting in, so on and so forth. If you're not using one, you're not being as serious as you could be about your health.
100%.
Period. I'm not sponsored by anyone, but yeah.
Yeah.
If someone wants to, let me know. But anyway, so I wanted to give that type of experience to someone, and I've been, kind of stepping around that for a while. I've had the Change Your Fucking Life program on my website for a few months, but it hasn't been something that I had really tried marketing well or really tried to go out towards people, because I think there was just a little bit of trepidation even on my part of that level of commitment to one client, right?
Right.
But I feel like I just got the calling that said it's time. And so, I put the structure together and I went to ESC that day, looking for somebody who was perhaps where I was in terms of fitness 2 years ago, right? Just starting to go from, lifting regularly, being active regularly, to really starting to take fitness seriously, and who's ready to take it to that next level. And so I was searching for somebody who was maybe like a 30-year-old version of John. And what I found was a very different psycho. So, I put out the question to ESC, and 2 people raised their hands, but Diana was the one that followed through on it. So I want to hear it from your perspective.
So I had a pretty major car accident about a year ago and was in the hospital overnight. It was a total life quake. I've told you about it. I've talked about it a little bit with my closer people and my closest friends. came and even took my kids to school for me. It was a really, really rough patch. And I gave myself at that time just time to just heal, right? Because, like, you're just in shock. You're thinking about life, about how short it is, about just everything. And I was like, okay, I'm going to get back to my baseline, which was strength training 3, sometimes 4 times a week. You know, I wasn't running because I have like a lot of like issues with my joints.
A lot of excuses. Yeah.
A lot of pain. a lot of childhood, sports abuse, type of thing that manifests. And it's just, you just make it, it is excuses. It is like, it is, because you can reintegrate however you can, but someone tells you, well, if it hurts, don't do it. And then you're like, well, it hurts, so I'm not going to do it, So I was like looking into all this research about trauma background and strength training and things like that. So I gave myself that out of like, okay, I'll be this type of athlete, but I'll stay away from too much high impact because I don't want to break my body, especially after the accident. I don't want to force it and hurt my back, things like that. So I leaned into a lot of other alternative medicine stuff, which I've always geeked out on. But long story short, finally I get, to a point where it's 2026. It's a year later. God, it must have been, I'm curious what date exactly you said that at ESC, because it must have been right around the year anniversary. My accident was February 7th.
Yeah, it was right around there. It might have been like,
My accident was February 7th of last year.
so we started on the 18th
of March.
Of February.
Oh, February. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry.
And
yeah. And it took us a couple of weeks to meet.
Yeah, I think it was 2 weeks prior to that we.
Okay. So we'll just pick up where we left off.
Yeah. So you were saying that it was around the 1-year anniversary of your crash.
So February 5th is when you brought it up.
Mm-hmm.
And I was approaching my 1-year anniversary from the lifequake accident I had, head-on collision. And I'll never forget, you said this, and I was already in on like, I need to do something. I know my body needs a reset. And so you said that, and I went. Because
divine timing.
Why not? For me, it was like, it's time. I don't care what it looks like. I need someone to just take me and kind of kick my ass. I need that. Like, I need that. I know I can handle that. Like, this can handle it. I don't know about this, but we'll figure it out. I'm articulate. I know how to communicate. I'm a good advocate. Like, I'll know how to handle this stuff. And I'll never forget Mike, our chiropractic doctor, Healing House, shout out. He looks at me and he's like, are you sure about what? And I was
because
like,
Mike is also my chiropractor, and every time I go in there, he's like, "Oh, so what are you lifting today?"
Exactly.
And he's just so used to me saying, "Oh yeah, well, I put 400 pounds on my back and went for a walk yesterday."
Just
I ran
psycho
20
shit,
miles.
right? And he's just like, Diana, he goes hard, right? And he knows my history, and he's been like working on my body too and stuff like that. And I was like, it'll be fine. Like, it's gonna be, I'll communicate. So then we met, we talked, and I was like, listen, I'm very articulate. I'm gonna bitch about it. I'm not worried about my mind going through it. I'm more worried about, is my body going to cooperate, because it's been broken 5 times. I've stored a lot of trauma in my hips and everywhere, which, by the way, that was like where a lot of the half marathon residual effects, like the aftershocks, that's where a lot of it manifested, was in that like SI joint area, pelvis area. But I know a lot of people kind of looked, and I think they were, maybe they thought, well, she's a baddie. She's a bad bitch. She'll probably do it, but not to the level that we wound up doing it. And I'm really proud of us for demonstrating it, showcasing it, and really, I've stripped every motherfucker out there from any type of excuse that they could ever have about pushing themselves. Because if I can do it as a single mom of 5 children, taking them to and from school, still meal prepping, still running business, like 3,000 miles away, what did I tell you? I said, I have this 30-day window where I will be local and I will not travel. and I'm gonna take it. Like, I'm gonna take it. And, my biggest motivation was like, not only myself, I wanted to make sure that my body can do it and
Mm-hmm.
I can go through it, but my kids. Like, I can't tell my kids to be healthy, to push themselves, to get up in the morning and go for a run before they start their day, to take these supplements, to hit these macros, to XYZ, all of these
Mm-hmm.
different things to push themselves if I'm not doing it
Yeah.
myself. And so this was a really big, not only test for me, like, am I committed to myself, but also a test for my, like, my commitment to our health as a family.
Mm-hmm.
How committed am I? Like, is the money going to outweigh the commitment? Is the, not, I wouldn't say like laziness, but, is the comfort or the discomfort going to outweigh like my commitment?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm super proud of myself to say, like, no, I didn't. I stomped all over that shit. And
Mm-hmm.
I went through some hard stuff. I went
Yeah.
through some hard stuff in business, emotionally, personally. Like, I was purging so much from my nervous system, from my brain, from my body during those moments. And it was really like, I was exhausted when I'd go to sleep at night. And I'm like, oh my God, I hope my body recovers, like, praying,
Mm-hmm.
that I would recover enough to where I could meet the challenges that you were bringing the next morning. But at the same time, I was like, I'm almost there. Like, when we hit the week one, and that first Psycho Saturday was absolute terror for me.
You're like,
Absolute
oh, I only have to
terror.
do this again for the next 4 weeks. Great.
And yeah, and I was like, what? You want me to do what after this? Like, and now I picked up that 100-pound ball. I'll never forget how hard it was for me to pick that shit up the first Saturday. And then the last
And now you're
Saturday I
going for
did
walks
it.
with it. Yeah, it's your
Yeah,
best
like,
friend.
I couldn't even, like, I couldn't take 2 steps with it the first time I did
Mm-hmm.
it. So, is it getting easier? No. It's not, because every time I go to the Psycho Saturday, I'm fucking scared. I'm like, damn it, I don't feel ready for this. But am I getting stronger? Yes. And I see that, and that really gives me the motivation and the drive to continue going. And, like I told you, I went for my first full mile run day before yesterday in the morning. And I can't do it at, like, I couldn't do it at like 6:30 just because it's dark. It's like scary for me to go alone as a female, whatever. But I did go at 7. The sun was up. I went and I ran in our usual route, and I was gassed, halfway through the mile. And I was like, no, I'm going to keep going. Like, I told myself, okay, I'll stop at like half a mile in, because I'm just being gentle with myself. I didn't. I didn't wind up stopping
Good.
until after over the mile. And was super proud of myself. And I didn't do much. I still did beat my first time ever with the mile, and it was my first time running again. So that being said, like, I'm not scared anymore. I'm not scared to run. I'm gonna feel these different aches and pains and whatnot, but I trust my body, and my body trusts me at this point to recover, to give the fuel, to give the, encouragement and whatever. And I don't know what I enjoyed more, running with you and talking about life shit, or, listening to my music, my, crazy girl, power play music in the mornings. But after that, I went to Crunch. I only had like 20 minutes for a workout. And I did a superset
Okay.
that you taught me to do. Killed myself there. I'm still feeling it today, 2 days later. But like, I knew how to do that.
Yeah.
I knew how to push myself. I knew I'm pushing to failure. I definitely failed. And then I dropped down to whatever weight set. And then I went from that to like failure. And I was like, okay, I'm accomplished. Like, I'm accomplishing so much more in so much less time. And I think that's like one of the greater values, other than the whole culture change that it caused in my family and in our life, in our house. That was like one of the biggest things, is like, if I was able to do pretty much 2 1-hour workouts per day before noon every day, and a Psycho Saturday, I can do like a solid 1 hour cumulatively
Yeah.
of workouts, because that
And
mile took me what, 15 minutes
and if you
maybe
know you only
with
got
walking and
15
pull down.
minutes, you know that you can find something to do to maximize the effectiveness of those 15 minutes.
To max your heart rate out.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what I was doing. And now that I know, like, hey, this is what it takes. Like, am I pushing myself enough? Am I straining myself enough because I had all that baseline? Now I know, like, okay, I give myself a pass because I'm in luteal and whatever. But bitches, once follicular and ovulatory phase comes
Mm.
on, like, it's balls to walls at that point. I know what I'm capable of and what I can do. And even working out, like during luteal phase, like we started out, I was in my
Mm-hmm.
luteal phase and I had very different mindsets about it. I had worked out in the past during my cycle and everything. And now that I was getting older, I'm like, well, maybe my body just can't handle all of that very much. But no, seriously, putting the stress outside of my body and exerting it
Yep.
and throwing that out into the universe, basically, and not harboring it inside of me gave me so much less capacity to carry anxiety, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. Like I put it all out there, all that anxious energy, it has to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So get it out of your
Well,
body.
and that's such a big thing, and I even need to remind myself of that sometimes. There's days when, my energy level will be low and I feel like there's a million things that I have to do. And a lot of times I'll ask myself, have I pushed myself physically today? And if the answer is no, then that's the first thing I go do, because I know that if I do that, I'm going to give myself a chance to get aggression out, to, get
Mm-hmm.
that going. But also it just gets my blood pumping. It gets my body in motion. It says to my body, hey man, look, we're awake. This is the day. Like, let's go take it.
Yeah.
And if I'm sedentary, then my body is just more likely to stay sedentary. It's more likely to not want to, focus in and do the work that I need to get taken care of, or whatever it is, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so, exercise is just such a major part of regulating our body's natural cycles in so many different ways. One thing that you had mentioned before, when you were talking about your kids, you said it was kind of tough to speak from the position that you were in prior to going through this program. And so, a question raised in my mind, just because I had been working out with your oldest son, Seth, for a couple months prior to
Mm-hmm.
starting the program. Was there any pushback that you got from him in how you were trying to advise him?
Yeah, there was, I've always hired professional male trainers for my boys just
Mm-hmm.
because, and now you're working with Ezra too. And it makes such a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
I think also our cultural background that we come from a very traditional, conservative Christian, Romanian, super kind of misogynistic, patriarch type of background.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the connotations around women are automatically like weakness.
Mm.
Even though I can be this, like, to you and to all of our friends in the community, I'm this bad bitch, like, but my boys, like, in their subconscious, they've been wired to be like, girls are fucking weak. And I'm like, okay, motherfucker, watch me then. And so I would say, like, hey, you need to be eating more. Hey, you need this. I'm eating enough. You don't know. Like, it was just a lot of like this push. And we were talking a lot about like, hey, how's he doing? How's he performing? This and that. And talking about like nutrition and things like that. And now, like, he went to his first football training
Okay.
yesterday after
All
school.
right.
And the coaches are really like on him. They called me about being interested in him, especially as of like next year. He almost outlifted everyone in his age group.
Nice.
So
Hell
kudos.
yeah.
I wanted to tell
Love
you
that.
about that. But yes, there's this underlying like, she's just mom. She's just a girl,
Mm-hmm.
and I could do this and I could do that. And I'm just like, I'm right behind you, son.
Mm.
Like, I'm 20 pounds shy of whatever your fucking chest press or
Yeah,
bench press
overhead
is,
press. You're close on
overhead
there.
press. Like, hey,
Mhm.
put some respect on my fucking name, because I also gave birth to all y'all. And so I think him watching me, because towards the end, remember I told you that last week my brother was also in town, and I ran my first 5K with you the week prior or
Mhm.
something, and I can't remember what else we had done, and I was just talking about it, whatever, and he goes that, oh, I beat my mile time.
Mhm.
That was what it was, by like almost 2
Yeah.
minutes. And I was like, when's the last time you timed your mile, Seth? You know, and it's nothing, there's nothing like competing with your adolescent teenage son
Mm-hmm.
to motivate him and get his testosterone like out the roof, being like, my mom's not going to talk to me like that, you know? That night he went, I went somewhere, I think on a date, dinner date, something like that, came back. He had went on a run. He ran almost 7 miles
Mm-hmm.
in, I don't know, an hour or something. His calves were burning, whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
he was like, I just wanted to see like what I could, because, you
Yeah.
know, and then 2 days later, I ran
Yeah.
13.3, you know, the half marathon. And
Oh,
he's like, oh,
has he topped
shit.
it?
Not yet. Not yet.
All right.
Not yet. I'm
Maybe I'll need
excited
to
about
show up
that.
on a random Sunday and be like, all right,
Yeah.
Seth, we're going on a run.
Let's go.
Take him
Yeah.
for 20 real quick.
Absolutely. Because I have talked to him about a lot about like running as a good mechanism for like sports, performance
Mhm.
sports, because if you have more cardiovascular endurance than everyone else, you run circles around them,
Mhm.
literally. Like that's what you can do. And I don't think he really took me seriously until he's been working out with you. He's seen me make the progress I've made in 30 days. Mom can do this. Like, what the fuck? You know, like they're not going to stand for that.
I mean, that's such a dichotomy shift. You know, I'm sitting here thinking about my mom as a kid, right? And
yeah.
there was so much stuff that my mom would, you know, advise me on that I never really took seriously. You know, so some things around like, oh, you're eating too much protein. And I'm like, well, I'm not. And she's saying, oh, it might be bad for your gut, which probably has been bad for my gut. My gut's been fucked up for a long time, but the protein's necessary. So anyway,
Right.
but she would run, I think, like 2 miles a day in the morning when I was a very young kid. By the time I hit teenage years, she wasn't doing that. But if I had ever seen my mom train the way that you trained, oh my God, do you know how much my ego would have been hurt by that? Because I think I'm an athlete from the time I am a kid, right? I'm always the top performer in every
Especially
sports
boys.
team, yada, 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 right? I fell in love with like actually working out when I was in sixth grade, and that followed me my whole life. When I was in high school, though, like I would work out, but I had such a schedule of like lifting with baseball, practicing baseball, that like the lifting 3 times a week and then playing baseball and stuff like that was good enough for me. If I saw my mom working out twice a day, do you know how hard I would have trained? I would every fucking second of every day. I'd be like, you kidding me? No, my mom's not beating me in a race. Like, no, that's not happening. So that is incredible inspiration for them, and I'm sure that it's like really hitting deep for them just to see, you know, a sense of pride in like, hey, my mom's this strong, so how strong can I be?
Yeah, I think that's I mean, that's definitely something that strikes a chord for me and makes me kind of emotional because like, you know, I've accomplished a lot by the standards that most people look at and they're like, "Oh, you know, financial, things like that, you know, business, nonprofit. I'm loud, I'm boisterous, I'm like whatever I am, right?" But if I can't show my kids how to be all of these other things and like also be a conscious aware parent and talk to them and things like that, while also not compromising on my body's health and like my aging, like the reverse aging that we accomplished and the muscle mass, you know, I tried to challenge them before I started your program. I tried to challenge them and I said, I will give you $10 per pound of lean muscle mass that you can gain by the end of this school year.
Okay.
They had like 90 days. And I was like, I'll give it to all of you. It'll be like a tiered level. Like you gain this much, you get this much, you gain this much. Because to me, I know how important that is, right? To us as like adults and as for me as like healthcare, I know how important that is for their mental health, for their strength, like, and how challenging it is because they have such high metabolisms. They really have to eat. So I knew what I was doing. We're not going to do the biggest loser challenge. We're going to do the biggest gainer challenge. And then I think for them to hear that at 37 years old, with everything I have going on, I mean, they're watching me army crawl through life emotionally a lot of times. And to see me losing body fat, losing inches, looking fine. I mean, I was looking fine before, but now I'm looking fine, you know, in my clothes. And gaining 6 pounds of muscle mass, of lean muscle mass at my age, they're like, if my, like Seth has washboard abs right now at this
Hell
point.
yeah.
Like Ezra's doing his shit too. Like they are like all competing with each other. My daughter's like, I want to grow the booty, like it's all this stuff. And it has like, I'm so, I wasn't in a financial position where I was going to be like, oh yeah, take my money, right? But I knew that my return was going to be so much greater than what I was investing. And I'm so proud of that. And I really firmly believe in you pay your friends and you ask for discounts from big corporations. Like that's how you support the ecosystem that you're in, because it will continue to give back. And for me, it has given back just in the sheer fact that it has changed our entire household culture. I'm not having to fight them to eat more. I'm having to keep up stock with pantry items to have like health. My son was like, "Why are you buying Pop Tarts?" It was like the most natural Pop Tarts, the cleaner version that they've got now. Don't buy Pop Tarts anymore, Mama, please. Like,
Yeah.
please, you're killing me here. And I'm like, bro, don't eat it. Like, because I have a different philosophy
Yeah,
on
but
how to raise
that's
them.
such a
But
big thing. You don't keep it in the house, and then it's not a temptation. Like, I struggle with that myself. If there's something in the house, I'm like, ooh, ooh, ooh.
yeah,
I just have to not
and
keep it here.
well, and you burn it. Like, you're always burning.
Yes.
But we do have to be conscious about what we're putting in our bodies and how that is going to impact us. So seeing the house culture change in a way, and then like I was motivated. I got a corporate membership with Crunch, and I was like, I wrote it off as like this is a marketing thing. But all of a sudden, all my kids can go to every Crunch and work out with their friends, and this is now their dates with their
Yeah.
friends. They meet up after school, they work out for an hour, 2 hours the other day they were gone. And I'm like, what a beautiful way to raise your kids to ease them into adulthood, because this becomes part of their pattern in their life.
Oh yeah.
These are the coping mechanisms we need to teach kids in a world of just doom scrolling and information overload and the disconnection between your mind and your body because of the sedentary lifestyle. Like that in and of itself has it's just paid back in spades. And we're 2 weeks out. We're like 6 weeks out of starting the program. But I see the ripple effect for our entire lives. Like now I'm looking at joining the High Rocks thing.
All right.
I don't know. Like I'm still
All right.
I'm still thinking. I'm considering the triathlon in St. Pete, but
In
I need
3
to
weeks?
find someone. Yeah, I don't know. Like I can swim. I'm not scared. I just don't know where they're swimming, and I'm scared of like water animals.
North Shore Park. Which the week before
in the bay.
Yeah. The week before I did it in 2024, I was riding my bike past North Shore Park, and a 6-foot blackfin shark was taken out of the water. Not to scare you. Probably
Oh
shouldn't
no,
have said
I'm not.
that.
I'm not doing it now. Now I'm not doing
Oh,
it. I'm afraid
bullshit.
of manatees, Johnny.
You know how many other people are out there? There's so many arms and legs. And
Do you know how big my legs are? The shark will be like, I'm going after that one. It'll pick me out of the crowd. I'm telling you. No.
Come on.
I will think about it.
We're creating excuses now. Let's
I
not
will
do that.
think about it. This is phobia shit. Like this is not just like this is not just like marathon shit. But I do want to. My hope at this point is that I will continue to find challenging things to sign up for, and my hope is that my children will join me on those. And that they will train, and I don't care about the time or the placing yet. Maybe we will eventually, but I care more about them and us having something to train for, something to motivate us, something to keep us going as a unit.
There is a Spartan here a week from today, or a month from today, excuse me. Yeah, I think it's the 3rd.
Of May?
Yeah.
That's 6 days before my birthday.
Cool. Happy birthday to D. Happy birthday to D.
Can I do
All
a Spartan
her kids
race? I don't even
are
know what the Spartan
racing
is.
Spartan and not dying in the stadium. Yeah, it's at Raymond James Stadium. It's a 5K, so it's the shortest one that they offer. They also do have kids races, so like Ezra, Seth, Hadi, they would want to do the adult race. But there is a kids race that's I think a mile long. So Aaron and Hannah would be right out for that.
Okay.
But Yeah, I mean, if you guys wanted to sign up for that, I have a 30% off discount code for Spartans. So if you're listening to this and you want to do a Spartan, let me know. I also, there's an
What's your discount
organization,
code?
I don't
Say
know
it.
it off the top of
Oh,
my
okay.
head. Yeah. But there's also a charity called Lionheart Fitness that is set up to help kids get into fitness.
Okay.
And through them, I don't know if it's still going on. I think it might have been until the end of March. But if you donated, you get a free Spartan code.
Oh,
You donate at least
okay.
$100, and so
Okay.
it's a great value considering it's typically like 150 or something like that to sign up for
Okay.
them. So,
And is it just a run, or what is the Spartan race? Because I haven't even done one. I've seen it,
Yeah.
but
You've seen me and Baby T celebrating at the finish line and all
yeah.
that stuff. So it's running. The one at the stadium is through the stadium, so you're running up and down the stairs for a large portion of the stadium. You're running through the concourse, through the ramps. You're going into the locker room. You're going on the field. So you're basically all over the stadium. There's also 20 different obstacles, from walls to jump over to sandbags to carry, your favorite, to monkey bars, to rope climbs, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So,
And what if you don't make it through the certain obstacles?
You have to do
like if you
burpees.
fall, you have to do burpees
Yeah.
as a Oh my God. Well, thank goodness you've been training me on burpees,
see?
right?
Exactly. You're doing great. So Psycho Saturday it's meant to prepare you for a race like that, right?
Mhm.
And so yes, it's very difficult going out there and doing that on a Saturday, but it's going to show you how hard you need to push to make it through something like a Spartan race. So if you were interested in doing that, I would love to see you guys out there. It would be so incredible
fun.
for me, so fulfilling to see you and the whole family out there doing that.
Mhm.
Baby T and I are going to be there. We're actually doing one in Jersey the week before that. That's a 31 miler
Damn.
through the
And
mountains.
you're going to do this other one?
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll think about it.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if my kids are motivated to do it, and if they are, then I'll do it.
Okay.
If my kids do it, then I'll do it.
Cool. Let's make sure they do.
Is it an instant regret?
Yeah.
And if they're not, then I might just do it myself, just because of a bucket list thing. I think I've watched Spartan stuff like for the past 5 years.
Mhm.
I've never, fun fact, I have never since like school joined, paid for, done like a race like that. Like I was gonna do like the Mud Girl run. I thought about Spartan a few different times. I've thought about I've seen friends do high rocks, and I'm like, I don't know, like they just look like intimidating athletes. But then I'll never forget, on a Psycho Saturday morning, I was doing the surrender
lunges
with the 40-pound, I think. And you were like, you're using the semi-pro weight, just letting you know. And I'm like, what? Like me? Little me?
Better than you thought.
So yeah, so like I think that will be a huge like change for us as a family. Instead of going to an amusement park or something like that, maybe we make that our whole day. Because it costs money either way you slice it, but this is at least something that,
Oh my God, do you know how amazing they would feel after completing that?
yeah, I know.
Oh my God,
It's addictive,
could you
I feel like.
imagine the smile on Seth and Ezra's face? I could just see them both like
right.
beaming.
Me too, and they would whoop my ass, I'm sure. At least Seth would. But there's nothing like, that's what I say this a lot, and like I'm super facetious and like funny about it, but I'm gonna kick their ass as long as I can, right, in everything that I possibly can. And I think I've still kicked Seth's ass in the dead hang, because I beat my time the last time.
Yeah.
He waited for
What
1
was
minute,
he
but
at?
never. He was 1 minute.
Okay.
He said he only stayed 1 minute because like that he knew he was gonna beat me or something, like 105 or something. I think I hit 110 or something like that as my PR. So I want to challenge parents to always try and beat their children, because our kids see us as beat their children. I want to encourage parents to always beat their children in sports and performance, athletic performance. Let me just like add that there. Because because our kids look at us and inevitably, and if you go back to their age, you're like, oh my God, you're almost 40. Ooh, you're so old. You were born in the 80s. Oh my goodness. The 90s, whatever. So for them to see that we are old and we can beat them at certain things, or we're performing a certain way, or we're looking strong, we're being strong, is one of the greatest gifts that we can give them as motivation, because
Mm-hmm.
motivation is hard to find in today's day and age with this dopamine, over in abundance of like
Mm-hmm.
short form dopamine and like addictive type of things. It's really hard to find motivation, but if your own parent is able to beat you in certain things and you call them old in the same breath,
Mm-hmm.
how motivated do you feel like you're going to be when you're like, dude, I have like zero excuses. Like, there's
Mm-hmm.
no way I'm not beating mom in this Spartan race
Yeah.
or whatever. We want them to be better than us. Like, it should be this fun, playful, I can beat you in a sprint, even though maybe I know I can't
Mm-hmm.
at this point. Maybe not. We'll see. But at least I'm challenging them and I'm like, hey, rise up,
Yeah.
step
You're
up.
making them actually prove it, right?
Exactly. Put your money where your mouth is type of scenario.
If and that's it's really so powerful, having positive role models to ask you to be better than yourself and to emulate. And parents play such a, I mean, to say such an important role just undersells it.
Right. Yeah.
It's fucking massive.
It's
And
paramount.
I really dream of the day that I get to be a father, because I want to help my kids be everything that they can be. And I know that in the last number of years, I've put myself in a position to be the father that I have always hoped that I would be.
Mm-hmm.
There were a number of times earlier in my life when I've thought about having kids, and it freaked me the fuck out, because how am I going to continue to go on benders when I have a kid? How am I going to not drink alcohol while my, wife or girlfriend or whatever is pregnant? I need alcohol, right? Now, when I have that kid is going to come into the best possible situation for his
Right.
mental and physical health. And I cannot wait until I can be that type of role model.
Which I have a question. Like,
Mhm.
how do you feel like, two questions, one and then a quick follow-up. So do you feel like having a child low key scares you about your dedication to, like, performance? Like, you may not be having benders or stuff, but you're going out and you're going on like 6-hour runs, right? Things like that multiple times a week,
Yeah.
prioritization type of thing. And B, how did this program and the dynamic between my kids and I
Mm-hmm.
impact you?
Mm.
Because you've asked me how it impacted us, and we've
Mm-hmm.
really like excavated that, but I'm really curious to know, like, what did it do for you?
Yeah. Well, so the first thing about, what will having a kid do to my dedication, there's enough ways around it that I don't think it's really going to affect my ability to train the way that I train too much. There's a friend that I have here in St. Pete that runs races with a stroller, and
Mm-hmm.
he's got two kids that he's pushing, and he's still
I love
faster than
that.
me. So, no fucking excuses.
I love that. Even with the sleep deprivation, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is you is or is you ain't.
Right, right.
Um, and then, seeing your kids, I love it, because I grew up sort of an only child. My brother and sister were 10 and 12 years older than me. So by the time I was 10, they were 20 and 22. My sister had her first child when she was 22. My brother, it was in and out of the house. So it was really like I was an only child for a lot of my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, seeing the dynamic that you have at home, where all the kids are there, but they're all kind of different stages in their life. They're all playing different roles and how they help the unit as a whole, how they communicate. It's just really fun, and it makes it seem like having kids is not this like big stressful,
Scary.
like, yeah, like oh my God, responsibility, but it's like, it's fun. You're actually like raising human beings, you know? It takes it from like a, oh my God, kids and like the responsibility aspect of it to, no, this is what like home life actually is, and it's really beautiful seeing
And how
the
it
kids
could
all come
be.
together. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people think of like children and, circling back to like my life and stuff, right? Like I know a lot of friends or people that meet me and they're like, what do you mean you have 5 kids,
Mm-hmm.
And I've had friends that have been like, we were holding off on having kids because I thought my life was going to be over after having
Mm-hmm.
kids. And then we see you like out partying or doing really hard shit for 30 days. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how you do it, and running business and doing this and doing that. And I think like there's a lot to be said for just like how society has made it to be like this oppressive, like hold back type
Yeah.
of scenario, but really it is like some of the greatest motivation is having your children around, seeing them interact, seeing the dynamics, seeing them push themselves, seeing
Mm-hmm.
them like a part of you, like I would, my kids, I speak personally, every one of my children, watching them go through every phase of their life heals a certain part of my inner child.
Mm.
And I think, I mean, I guess that speaks to a little bit of how much trauma, how much childhood trauma I went through in my
Mm.
life.
It takes
To
5 kids worth.
takes 5 kids, to address all facets of it. But I will say, like, I've told people this so many times because I really did have a hard time in life at some point where I was like, why are all these people, I feel like a revolving door. All these people come in and they leave, come in and they
Mm-hmm.
leave. And the answer that was like downloaded to me from the universe or God, whichever you believe in, was people need to know that you can still live your life. It's not over just because you have other humans in there. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they're here for a season, it's a blip. And one of my favorite sayings is the days are long, but the years are short.
Mm.
Like, before you know it,
Mm-hmm.
they're Ezra Seth Hattie, like they're making their own plans, they're whatever. And you really have to create this community and this culture within the home where this is their safe place. They're learning things and they're constantly going, integrating in their lives that they're building and in their identity and coming back with it and
Mm-hmm.
integrating with each other and asking you questions and feeling safe to talk about things. And one thing I really do love about you, and which is why I will always encourage moms and dads that might have sons that they might not be able to connect with or want to just have like a great mentor, physical slash mental mentor, would be like training with you one on one.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen the impact, I've seen the positivity. I highly recommend young boys that are aspiring athletes or just struggling with like, how do I fit my identity into this thing where it's positive? Because adolescence is so hard for them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I will always promote working with you, and I really strongly feel like you should start a group for just like middle school, high schoolers, because they're in such a transitionary phase. And you are so conscious and aware of where you were, when things might have shifted or could have shifted. And it's like that hindsight 2020. You're not afraid to talk about it. You're
Mm-hmm.
not afraid to let someone speak to you about the hard things and then give them feedback on it and challenge them. One of the things that I've noticed about you, because I've had a lot of interaction with you since getting to know you through ESC, right?
Day one,
Day one. Yeah.
we are going to really know each other well.
Right. But like, we already had some interaction like through our social networking group, and it was like we sat down, we're talking, and at some point I think I like interrupted you. And I'm not like that. We were just all loose. I think we had some wine, whatever. And you just stopped and you stared at me and you said, I was mid sentence. And it was a very gentle way of saying, listen, bitch, don't interrupt me again. And me being secure, people with insecure energy, they're like, oh my God, he hurt my feelings. I'm never talking to him again. For me, it was like, I'm so sorry. Like, thank you for taking me and grounding me in that in that relational situation, that community, and helping me understand maybe a weakness of mine or something where I'm just like too fun, whatever, and just, pummel over your sentence, whatever you were saying, because that's a human respect thing. And I think there are a lot of people that don't do that and don't have that direct communication style. I think that's why we got along so well in our program too, because you were direct and I was direct. Like I was like, I'm not fucking doing this. And you're like, yes, you fucking are. But I think that that's a really important dynamic that a lot of people don't have. And a lot of trainers will sit there and kind of coddle you and be like, oh, you're not feeling so good. But you're like, your heart rate's 150. You're good. Gas it, girl. Like, let's fucking go. You want a big booty or not? Let's go. Hold the line, Braveheart. And I think that's what sets you apart as just a human in general, as a trainer, and as someone that really wants to push people. So I will always promote for young male athletes that are in that like transitional, like need to emerge and need someone to really push them to that phase. I think you would be incredible as like just a performance athlete type coach. Like, we talked a little bit about who your avatars are, and I think you have been focused on like just men around your age group that want to be more, that want to do more, whatever. I really feel like you're such a safe person emotionally and mentally conscious and very aware that you're great with the vulnerable population, the vulnerable people. And I talk a lot about elder people. For you specifically, it's like moms or dads that have kind of just like lost their way, because there's a lot of like inner child psychology, and you do really well with that, bringing that out and giving it a safe place to manifest. But then also children, like adolescents that are just trying to break that glass ceiling and are like, but I don't know how to look, who to be, what to like, what if all the kids are laughing at me, like they're all doing these different substances and stuff, and there's parties and there's this and there's that, and you have a lot of that experience that you bring into it, and you're like, this is what it was like, I've done that, I promise you it's not all it's cracked up to be. And you give them somewhere else to channel it, and you make it like a party. It's like the big barbell lift Wednesdays and the psycho Saturdays, and it really is like a fitness party. So I just like want to give that homage to like who you are and what Get Psyched Fitness is. I know like the first time I ever heard you speak or pitch yourself when I was first coming to ESC was like, I run ultra marathons on psychedelics, and I'm like, damn, that's a whole new level of commitment. But there's so much more to you that I feel like people just stop at that psycho thing, and they don't really know those layers of you. So I want that to be the showcase. Like, you cared. I told you how much I cared about my kids seeing me, knowing the struggle, knowing I'm enduring, I'm pushing, and I'm beside someone that looks like a fucking giant of a man and is like, let's go, and I'm going. And that just like starts that fire in their belly to like be more, do more, be stronger. So yeah, I can't recommend it enough. And I'm excited to potentially like collaborate from the stress management side of things. And I think some women are scared of doing something like this because they're like, how am I going to do it? When am I going to do it? How do I have the time? I just, all the excuses come up. And then if we come to them with this, I know a lot of people have watched me through the journey, and they're like, damn, if she can do it, maybe I can do it. And what I'd like to say is like, if I can do it, I promise you can do it. I promise you can. It's just a decision, and then it's literally just micro decision at a time. It really is.
Well, that's it exactly. Can everyone do it? Yes. Will everyone do it? Absolutely the fuck not.
Right.
Because it takes that mental. Physically, like, and I'm sure you felt this, right? If there was ever a time when I felt like you were not physically prepared to do what I had planned, there's no question that we find something of a lesser intensity to make sure that you can continue moving at a pace, right?
I was so proud of you for like being able to adapt to my needs, because I was like, I don't know, I grew up as an athlete, and they always push you, push you, push you, but they don't really listen. And there were moments where I felt like I could do more potentially, but you were like, no, we had a scare yesterday with like whenever I did the sprints, it was like 3 days in, and I strained the muscle, but we were able to get it under control. And you were like, no, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. This is what we're shifting to. And you were very protective of my body, probably even more protective than I was, because I had a lot of anxiety, performance anxiety over, am I going to have enough results? Like, I really wanted to be this like champion of the program. I'm so proud of myself for doing it. I know you're proud of me because you've told me multiple times, but I'm proud of you as a healthcare professional and as a mom for, listening, taking heed to like my feedback, but also teasing that line, always teasing that line to a point where I got so used to teasing that line that I teased it myself. And you never even asked me to, like when I ran that, what was it, the 5K, or maybe it was something else we ran. And towards the end, I was like, fuck it, I'm gunning it. And I was like pushing it, redlining to 190, towards my house.
Oh, or early on, you're saying.
It was like halfway through or something. We have a video of it, and you were like, she's just like, no one asked her to do this, because it was like my mind and body at that point was like, let's go, like this feels good. Let's go. Let's go. And so I'm proud of you for also, shifting the narrative around what my needs were. And that's why I feel like this is a really great potential program for anyone that feels like they're just in this blockage of, I've been an athlete, or I've always wanted to be an athlete. I know I have the attributes or the motivation or the discipline in these areas to do these things. I could only imagine if I could adopt some of these disciplinary actions in athletics to also have a strong body. And that's when like the mind will follow also. Like the mind is already there in so many ways, but we're just not challenging the body enough to where they can be in connection with each other, is what I feel like.
Most definitely.
And I feel like that happened.
Really proud of you, D. I know you just said that I've told you that a number of times. I am extremely, extremely proud of the effort that you put in, the results that you got, the transformation mentally, and the resilience that you showed. It was really fulfilling to me. I've had a number of people reach out to me and say that it's been inspiring for them. And so I just want to thank you for being you and for embracing this program for everything that it was.
Yeah.
When we first sat down to talk, I had asked you, 30 days from now, you're going to be looking in the mirror. Who's looking back? Who's looking back at you?
Oh, I think now when I look in the mirror, I've had people call me a lioness many, many, many times, amongst other badass nicknames. But finally, I look in the mirror and I see the lioness.
So you're starting to believe it yourself.
This whole thing has rewired my brain in a way that I know what I'm capable of, and fears will be there, hardships will be there. Life is heavy, just lift heavier.
Bang, bang. I think that's a great place to stop. Do you have anything else for me, Dave?
I gave it all out. I gave it all out there on the line, on the streets of St. Pete. Let's build this motherfucking program.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we should do. I'm ready.
To the fucking moon, baby.
Thanks for hosting. I love these mics.